A startup you've never heard of just raised $25 million to do something that sounds impossible. Use AI to replace the decade-long nightmare of drug development. Executives from Meta, OpenAI, and Wiz wrote personal checks for this, not their companies, them personally. That's how confident they are. Converge Bio closed a Series A led by Bessemer Venture Partners, one of the firms that backed LinkedIn, Shopify, and Twilio before anyone knew those names. But here's what makes this terrifying and exciting at the same time. These tech executives are betting that AI can solve a problem that's killed more people than any single disease. The problem? It takes 10 to 15 years and $2.6 billion on average to bring one drug to market. 90% of drugs that enter clinical trials fail. AI thinks it can fix both of those numbers. And if they're right, we're not just talking about faster drug development. We're talking about curing diseases that pharmaceutical companies won't touch today because they're not profitable enough. We're talking about personalized medicine that costs hundreds instead of hundreds of thousands. The question isn't whether this will change healthcare. The question is whether we're ready for what happens when it does. Here's what nobody outside biotech understands. Drug development is the most expensive failure machine ever built. For every drug that makes it to your pharmacy, 9 others crash and burn after companies have already spent hundreds of millions testing them. The current system is so broken that pharmaceutical companies simply won't develop drugs for rare diseases. There's no way to make the money back. AI companies think they've found the cheat code. Traditional drug discovery works like this. Scientists test millions of molecular compounds one by one, hoping to find something that works. It's basically trial and error with a microscope. That's why it takes a decade. Converge Bio's approach flips this entirely. Their AI models predict which compounds will work before anyone steps into a lab. They're simulating years of experiments in hours. Bessemer's investment thesis here is brutal and brilliant. They're betting that biology is just really complicated code. And if it's code, AI can read it faster than humans. The firm's partner, Elliot Robinson, said in a statement that Converge Bio is reimagining the entire drug discovery pipeline. That's the venture capital speak for, we think everyone else is doing this wrong. But here's the part that should make you pay attention. The executives backing this aren't from pharma. They're from Meta, OpenAI, and Wiz. These are people who built the AI systems that everyone said were impossible 5 years ago. They're looking at drug discovery and seeing the same patterns they saw before GPT-4 existed. They're seeing a system that's ripe for disruption. The timing matters. AI models have gotten good enough in the last 18 months to predict protein structures, the building blocks of every drug, with 90% accuracy. That's DeepMind's AlphaFold technology, and it won a Nobel Prize in 2024. Converge Bio is building on top of that foundation. They're not starting from zero, they're starting from, we can already predict how molecules behave. Okay, so what does Converge Bio's technology actually do? Because AI drug discovery could mean anything from a fancy database to actual artificial intelligence designing molecules from scratch. According to their public statements, Converge Bio uses machine learning to predict how potential drug compounds will interact with disease targets in the human body before any physical testing begins. Think of it like this. Right now, if a pharmaceutical company wants to find a drug for Alzheimer's, they test thousands of compounds against brain cells, hoping one of them slows down the disease. 99.9% fail. Converge Bio's AI looks at the genetic signature of Alzheimer's, the structure of brain proteins, and millions of existing drug interaction data points. Then it says, based on everything we know, these 12 compounds have a 60% chance of working. Test those first. The company hasn't disclosed which specific diseases they're targeting yet, but the $25 million Series A suggests they're past the proof of concept phase. They're hiring computational biologists, machine learning engineers, and medicinal chemists. That combination tells you everything. They're building a system where AI and humans work together, not where AI replaces scientists entirely. Here's the stat that matters. Traditional drug discovery has a 90% failure rate in clinical trials. If Converge Bio can push that to 80%, just a 10% improvement, they'll save the pharmaceutical industry billions of dollars per year. If they can push it to 70%, they'll be worth more than most drug companies. The math is insane. But here's what nobody is talking about. The real value isn't speed or cost. It's unlocking diseases that are currently untreatable because they're too rare or too complicated. There are about 7,000 rare diseases affecting 30 million Americans. 95% have no FDA-approved treatment. Why? Because pharmaceutical companies can't justify spending $2.6 billion to develop a drug for 5,000 patients. If AI can drop that cost to $500 million and cut the timeline from 12 years to 5, suddenly those diseases become worth solving. That's the game changer. So why are executives from Meta, OpenAI, and Wiz putting their own money into this? Because they've seen this movie before. 5 years ago, everyone thought large language models were a research curiosity. 3 years ago, everyone thought generative AI was a party trick. Today, ChatGPT has 200 million weekly active users, and entire industries are being rewritten. These executives know something most people don't. The pattern of AI disruption is predictable. First, AI gets good enough to solve narrow problems faster than humans. Then it gets good enough to solve complex problems humans couldn't solve at all. Then it becomes infrastructure that everyone depends on. They think drug discovery is entering phase 2 right now. The Meta connection is particularly interesting. Meta has been pouring billions into AI infrastructure, chips, data centers, model training, but their business model is advertising. Drug discovery is one of the few industries where AI could have a bigger impact than social media. And Meta's executives know they're not going to build that inside the company. So they're backing external startups that can move faster. OpenAI's involvement makes even more sense. OpenAI's mission statement is to ensure artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. Healthcare is the most obvious place where that mission matters. If AGI can cure cancer, that's a bigger deal than writing better emails. The executives backing Converge Bio are putting their money where OpenAI's mission statement is. And then there's Wiz. For those who don't know, Wiz is a cybersecurity startup valued at $12 billion. Why would cybersecurity executives care about drug discovery? Because they understand infrastructure risk. They've seen what happens when critical systems have single points of failure. Right now, the entire pharmaceutical industry depends on a drug development process that's slow, expensive, and fails most of the time. That's an infrastructure problem disguised as a science problem. But here's the contrarian take. These executives might be wrong about the timeline. AI has gotten incredibly good at predicting molecular behavior in simulations. But biology isn't code. It's messier, more chaotic, less predictable. A molecule that looks perfect in an AI model can fail spectacularly in a human body because of some weird interaction nobody predicted. The question isn't whether AI will transform drug discovery. The question is whether it'll take 5 years or 20. So what does this actually mean for you? Because venture capital rounds and computational biology sound like things that happen in a different universe from your life. Here's the reality. If Converge Bio succeeds, the cost of developing new drugs drops significantly. And when costs drop, prices eventually follow. Right now, Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anyone else in the world. Part of that is insurance company nonsense and pharmaceutical company greed, but part of it is legitimate. It costs $2.6 billion to develop a drug, and companies need to recoup that investment. If AI cuts that cost in half, there's less justification for 1,000 per month medications. The bigger impact is what diseases get researched. Today, pharmaceutical companies focus on big markets: diabetes, heart disease, cancer. That's where the money is. Rare diseases, tropical diseases, and conditions that mostly affect poor countries get ignored. If AI makes drug development cheaper and faster, suddenly those diseases become economically viable to solve. That's not charity. That's just a business model that finally works. But there's a darker scenario nobody wants to talk about. What happens when AI can design custom drugs for specific people? We're not there yet, but that's the logical endpoint. If your AI can analyze your genome and design a molecule that targets your exact version of a disease, healthcare becomes hyper-personalized. That sounds amazing. It also means the gap between what rich people can afford and what everyone else gets becomes unbridgeable. Here's the stat that should terrify you. The top 1% of Americans already live, on average, 15 years longer than the bottom 50%. That gap has been widening for decades. If AI-designed personalized medicine becomes a thing, that gap could double. We could end up in a world where billionaires live to 120 with custom drugs designed by AI, while everyone else still dies of preventable diseases at 70. Converge Bio hasn't said anything about personalized medicine. They're focused on general drug discovery right now. But the technology they're building could absolutely go in that direction. And once it's possible, someone will do it. The question is whether we have regulations and healthcare policy in place to prevent AI-designed medicine from becoming a luxury good. Here's the part that's going to break everything. The FDA has no idea how to regulate AI-designed drugs. Right now, the approval process assumes humans designed the drug, humans tested it, and humans can explain why it works. But what happens when an AI designs a molecule that works, and nobody can fully explain why? This is called the black box problem, and it's already causing chaos in healthcare AI. There are AI systems that can predict cancer from scans better than radiologists, but hospitals won't use them because the AI can't explain its reasoning. It just says, "This is cancer." Doctors need to know why. If a patient sues, "The AI said so" isn't a legal defense. Now apply that to drugs. Let's say Converge Bio's AI designs a molecule that cures a rare kidney disease. It works in animal trials. It works in human trials. But when the FDA asks, "Why does this molecule work?" the answer is, "Our AI predicted it would, and it did, but we don't fully understand the mechanism." Does the FDA approve it? Do they reject it? There's no precedent. The European Union is already wrestling with this. They passed the AI Act in 2024, which requires high-risk AI systems to be explainable. Healthcare AI definitely counts as high risk. But explainable is a vague term when you're dealing with neural networks that make decisions based on billions of parameters. Converge Bio is going to run headfirst into this problem in the next 3 to 5 years. And here's where it gets political. If Converge Bio designs a drug that could save lives, but the FDA delays approval for 2 years because they can't figure out how to regulate AI-designed drugs, who's responsible for the people who die waiting? Is it the FDA for being too cautious? Is it Converge Bio for using technology that regulators can't evaluate? These are questions we're not ready to answer. So, what happens next? Converge Bio takes this $25 million and does what every Series A startup does. They hire aggressively, they build out their AI models, and they start partnerships with pharmaceutical companies. Because here's the thing. Converge Bio isn't trying to replace Pfizer or Merck. They're trying to become the AI infrastructure that Pfizer and Merck depend on. The business model is almost certainly licensing. Converge Bio's AI designs drug candidates, and then they license those candidates to big pharma companies that have the resources to run clinical trials and navigate FDA approval. Converge Bio gets royalties if the drug succeeds. Big Pharma gets drugs developed faster and cheaper than they could in-house. Everyone wins in theory, but the real test comes in 18-24 months. That's when Converge Bio will need to show results. Actual drug candidates entering trials, partnerships with major pharmaceutical companies, proof that their AI works better than traditional methods. If they can't show that, the next funding round becomes a lot harder. Bessemer has deep pockets, but venture capital isn't patient forever. The optimistic scenario: Converge. Bio's AI identifies a drug candidate for a rare disease. It enters trials in 2027, it shows promising results, and suddenly every pharmaceutical company wants to partner with them. The company raises a $100 million Series B. They go after bigger diseases. And by 2030, they're a core part of how drugs get developed. That's the scenario where the Meta and OpenAI executives look like geniuses. The pessimistic scenario: Converge Bio's AI predictions look great in simulations, but when they test the drugs in animals, they don't work as well as expected. The models were overfitted to existing data, and they're not as good at novel discovery as everyone hoped. The company pivots to being a software tool for pharmaceutical companies instead of a drug discoverer. They still succeed, but it's a much smaller outcome. The $25 million was overvalued. Here's my prediction. The truth will be somewhere in between. AI will absolutely transform drug discovery, but it'll take longer and be messier than the hype suggests. Converge Bio will have some wins and some failures, just like every biotech company. But the trend is undeniable. AI is going to play a bigger and bigger role in healthcare, and companies like Converge Bio are the leading edge of that wave. The bigger question is what we do with that power. Do we use AI to make medicine cheaper and more accessible? Or do we use it to create a two-tier healthcare system where the rich get AI-designed, personalized drugs and everyone else gets whatever insurance covers? That's not a technology question, that's a policy question, and we're running out of time to answer it before the technology forces the issue. If this keeps you up at night, subscribe. We cover this every week. If you found this useful, don't forget to hit the hype button. It helps the channel grow.